What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Dying Light 2 review scores. They are out. Obviously, the game releases tomorrow, depending on what time zone you're in, around tomorrow night. And so this was kind of pushing it a little late, which I maybe it was a signal as to what kind of review scores we were going to get. I do want to say this, though. I do honestly want to say this. So this game, much like any game review score, right? I don't go by them, and I've said that multiple times on the channel. I mean, obviously it's cool and it's something that you can maybe learn from to read these reviews, but I suggest, I'm not telling you what to do, I suggest you make your own decision, not just on this game but on any game. I'm still buying this game day one, and I guess with that all being said, it's not like this game is getting like a 50. You know what I mean? It's not like this game is pure trash. This game is kind of just a middling thing that I just wasn't expecting. So let's go over it. When at first I went on Metacritic, and remember, there's Metacritic and OpenCritic. There's slightly different. Metacritic, I think, is the better one for the game reviews, and it was like an 82. Now it's a 77. So 77 or 7.7 out of 10 or out of 100 based off of 45 critics. Now that'll go up. In terms of the amount of people that are going to review this game, that'll absolutely go up. And I mean, so far the scores have just kept getting lower. There's a lot more sevens. A lot of sevens are constantly being added as opposed to the 9. Now there are, I think like PlayStation Universe could be one of them. They gave it a 9. I think Game Informer gave it a 9.5. So I mean, there are high scores. Again, these are just fun to kind of talk about, and you make your own decision. I do feel like a lot of these scores, whether they're very high or very low, are all kind of saying the same thing. It's just the higher scores, I think, are kind of just letting them off, like giving them that slack, because what really seems to be the main thing is this game is very buggy. Okay, now they did say there's a day one patch that comes out tomorrow that'll fix thousands of these bugs. Now, where we heard that before, I'm not saying this is a Cyberpunk situation, because I don't know. I don't think it is, but I guess we can always be surprised. But just because they're doing a day one patch doesn't immediately mean everything's going to be solved. So just to kind of keep that in the back of our heads. But the bugs aside, because the bugs again were a thing that was talked about in these reviews, and again, some kind of held it against Dying Light 2 more than others. The other things, though, is the combat, the parkouring, the exploration, the open world. Those all seem to be very, very positive. Again, give or take a little bit. There is complaints with how much the world changes based off what you do. Remember, they kind of promised quite a bit with that, and it doesn't seem like that's the case. The main decisions that you're going to make throughout the game aren't as, the repercussions aren't as big as we kind of thought they were. And, maybe that's expectation. Maybe that's what we thought. Maybe it's literally them lying. Again, you guys make up your own mind. But I would say overall, the open world, the exploration, the fighting, all the parkouring, like all that stuff is very, very good throughout. Even though the ones that were giving it low scores, 6s, 7s, not necessarily that 7 is a low score, but the ones that were giving it 7s, that was like their highlight. These are the reasons why you should get this game. Okay, even the side quests, I saw a lot of review sites, I guess, or scores talk about how the side missions and the side stories that are told through doing them, they're way better than the main story. So it pays off to kind of go exploring and just kind of doing some different things. Now that leads to the other big so this is something that scares me. Now again, I don't want to take IGN too seriously, because where have they ever steered me right? But one thing that was said besides bugs is story. It seems like really, again, maybe the 9s, 9.5 are kind of letting it off easy, but it doesn't really seem like anybody likes the story. I've seen a lot on the character, the main protagonist, just not anybody you're going to get really excited about. Now, is that the reason you're playing Dying Light 2? Again, it's up to you. But I've really seen the story is it's not good. It's not good. It's long, and that, I've talked about this, guys. And look, I'll make videos on it as well. I'm going to play it starting tomorrow night, and I'm excited to do my coverage. We've talked about game length. Having a main story that's, and not that the main story is even that long, right? They admit it. It's like 20, 25 hours. But if, like, 16 of those 20 hours suck, now I'm not saying make the main story like 10 hours, but game length is going to be interesting to me, right? We've talked about game length, and it's okay to have a long game, at least in my opinion. It's okay to have a long game, but it needs to be worth it. Another thing I've seen is that this game takes an extremely long time to get going, like multiple hours. I don't like that. We've seen that example before. I think Final Fantasy, one of the Final Fantasy recent games, they did that where it's like, well, it gets good after 15 hours. Well, should you really expect people to play 15 hours of a game before it gets good? You know what I mean? So there are some worrying things. The story is what stands out to me because the bugs are fixable. You know what I mean? To various degrees, the bugs are fixable, but there's other things in this game seemingly that could have problems. You can't fix a story with a patch. You know what I mean? There's that thing, that kind of stuff doesn't exist. So, you know, again, to keep it under consideration, these are these guys' opinions, and that's great, and that's fine, and they have the right to their own opinion. We'll see what the general, you know, public thinks about it as well. I've seen a lot of people say this is better in a lot of respects than Dying Light 1. I've seen some that did say it was a step backwards, so there is some confliction there, and that's okay, and we'll all see, I guess, tomorrow night, starting tomorrow night when we can all play it. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. All my other social media is in the description below. My Twitter, my second YouTube channel, as well as our Patreon and YouTube memberships. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you all on the next video.